Episode 392. As the two players took their seats at the competition podiums, the interface for creating their match appeared on the electronic display. Suddenly, all the lights in the entire arena dimmed. As the match was confirmed, patches of light began to flicker across the empty arena. In just a moment, amidst the crowd's astonished gasps, the map Dai Yanqi had chosen was displayed in a full, crystal-clear panorama for all to see. Then the match began, and the two characters appeared at opposite ends of the map. The audience gasped once more, finally realizing what was about to happen. It was impossible to fit the entire holographic map onto the competition stage at a 1-to-1 scale. The map had to be shrunk down, and with it the two-player characters. They appeared much smaller than they had during the opening showcase. As a result, some of the finer details became harder to make out. The electronic screens encircling the arena continued their usual broadcast of the match, yet the audience's gaze was now drawn to that somewhat indistinct holographic projection.
That's just incredible.
Shen Guo stared, dumbfounded, her reaction mirroring that of every spectator in the arena. Yi Shu's hunch had been confirmed. He knew this would be a new era for Glory. But for now, scaling is a major issue. The current ratio is just too small to see clearly. It seems impossible to fully replace electronic displays yet. But that's a problem for the tech experts to solve. While the audience was still reeling in surprise, Chu Yunshu and Dai Yanqi's characters had already met. Neither chose any tactical positioning. They simply took the most direct and fastest route to the center of the map. After a polite greeting in the chat box, they immediately started fighting. The audience, watching both the electronic screen and the holographic projection, confirmed that the hologram was indeed perfectly synchronized. No one cared about the player's performance or who would win this match anymore. The audience was completely captivated by this brand new presentation. They watched the two avatars clash on the field, their names already forgotten. In the end, the match concluded without much excitement or suspense. Chu Yunshu defeated Dai Yanqi without any surprises. The two exchanged a friendly word, and the match was officially over. The applause that followed, compared to the quality of the match itself, was downright deceptive. Chu Yunshu and Dai Yanqi knew perfectly well that the vast majority of that applause wasn't for them. It was for the brand new technology that had shown the audience so many different things. The holographic projection shut down. The lights in the arena came back on. The players continued to discuss the new format, but the host was already announcing the next rookie challenger, Tiny Herb Team's Gao Yingjae. The moment his name was announced, the arena erupted in thunderous applause. This time, it was the real deal. Gao Yingjae's reputation as a genius had spread throughout the pro scene, regardless of whether Tiny Herb had helped fan the flames. This heir apparent to Vicaria has yet to make his official debut in a competitive match. Just what does a true genius look like? Glory fans had long been curious, and now they finally had their chance to see for themselves. Gao Yingjae also had to take a turn on stage and say a few words. But compared to that girl who was the spokesperson, he was far less impressive. He hung his head, his movements stiff as he walked onto the stage. Then, in a flash, he looked up, gave a quick wave to the crowd, and said,
"Hello everyone, I'm Gao Yingjae."
His voice trailed off, the last 3 syllables of his name so quiet even he could barely hear them. On the Tiny Herb Team's side of the pro player seats, everyone was shaking their heads inwardly. If Gao Yingjae had truly followed his own nature, he would never have signed up for this competition. He only entered because Wang Jixi signed him up. This kid still needs a lot more seasoning.
The player I want to challenge is our Tiny Herb captain, Wang Jixi.
Gao Yingji's voice remained low, but at least he managed to say the name Wang Jixi. His voice when giving the reason for the challenge was even softer, like a mosquito's hum. The director kept telling him through the earpiece to speak up, but it was no use at all. With no other choice, before the kid could even finish his sentence, Wang Jixi from the commentator's desk stepped up to save the day. The pro player's presence naturally commanded the stage. After a few brief words, and to the audience's applause, the two competitors ascended their respective platforms. The lights dimmed, and the holographic scene materialized across the arena as the chosen map loaded in. And so, the two witches appeared at opposite ends of the map. Even players of the same class won't necessarily have identical skill builds or gear preferences. So, the official accounts provided are all just empty level 70 shells. The skill points are unassigned, and you have to load your own gear from the equipment editor. Of course, there's no custom silver gear, just the standard equipment available in the game. Events like the All-Star Weekend are naturally held in collaboration with the Glory Games official side. With that kind of backing, there was never any shortage of sponsors for the accounts and equipment needed for the All-Star event. Wang Jishi and Gao Yingji's witches were already in the match, their skill builds and equipment selections finalized and mastered. Gao Yingji was the one meant to succeed Wang Jiashi, the one who would pilot Vicaria. When it came to skill builds and gear preferences, the two of them really weren't that far apart. The two witches flew toward the center of the arena, their starts almost perfectly synchronized. Just like the last match, there was no tactical maneuvering. The two met directly in the center. As teammates, they obviously knew this fight was coming, so unlike the polite exchange before Dai Yanqi and Chu Yunchu's match, there was no such courtesy here. The two witches flew closer on their brooms. Gao Yingyi was the first to strike, firing a magic missile straight at Wang Jixi's character. This was a truly spectacular duel. In contrast, the previous match had the audience more focused on the holographic effects. This time, the crowd was finally pulled back to the main event by the thrilling duel. Two witches danced through the center of the arena like butterflies weaving through flowers. The scorched earth and acidic rain left behind the scars of spent skills, while the colorful magical tools they favored were scattered all over the ground. Even without the holographic projections, the traditional broadcast of this match was stunning enough on its own. Just from the commentators' repeated stumbles, you could tell the pace of this one-on-one duel was simply blistering. While the commentator was still droning on about the last exchange, the two combatants had already traded dozens of blows. The audience couldn't be bothered to listen to his outdated commentary. In the end, the commentator had no choice but to wisely shut his mouth.